Network. Tune in at upnradio.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Judy here of Dr. Judy WTF. And in case you don't know what that stands for, you can take a guess, and then I'll tell you. Dr. Judy WTF, what the Freud? And it is really the theme of what we do as a human race. We keep repeating patterns. We keep running into the same old, you know, the old adage that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results, it's not going to gain you anything. So the what the Freud pattern is something that we're going to bring up, and as a matter of fact, we are going to mind map it. And before we do all of that, I want to introduce you to our special guest who's been on before.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Jasmine. Jasmine Elazari.
Yes.
Jasmine is a licensed marriage and family therapist. We have a call in. Hold on, a couple. Please hold on. Do not go away. And I just want to introduce, thank you. I'm going to introduce the topic, and then I'm going to ask the audience to please keep your questions short and relevant, and don't take personally if I interrupt you, because this is not a therapy session. It is a call-in show, so obviously we're time limited and we want to stay on topic. Yeah. So just a little bit about Jasmine is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She recently got licensed, and she's a member. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And she's a member of the Psychological Healing Center team. And so the topic tonight is titled Parents Who Use Their Children as Weapons. The flying monkeys, the children as flying monkeys. And we're going to talk a lot about how parents use their children against each other, especially in cases of divorce, especially in situations that have been referred to as parent alienation syndrome. Mm-hmm. So, hi, you're on the air with Dr. Judy. What is your name, please?
Glenda.
Glenda, hi. Where are you calling from?
Long Island, New York.
Okay, nice to talk to you. And so talk a little bit about your particular situation and how you've been used as a weapon from one parent to the other, and how that left you feeling.
Well, it was with my husband, who's my husband now, but the children, when we were dating before we got married, they were turned against me, and it was very, very difficult because they said hurtful things, and they were alienated totally from their father. And now we've been married 5 years.
And who alienated them from their father?
The mother.
Okay,
mother,
I see.
Alienated the two sons from their father.
Who is now your husband? Yes.
Yes, now my husband.
Okay.
He was a wonderful father to them, and was very close. And he moved to another state. He moved to New York.
So I just want to cut to the chase of, okay, so you're in this situation and you're watching these children. What kind of symptoms did the children have? Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them was allowed to not come on, court-ordered visitations on the weekend, every other weekend with their dad, by the mom. One, made all of these accusations about me during, a 4th of July day that, we were supposed to be having fun, looking at fireworks.
Okay, so that's
and,
okay. I could see that she obviously wanted to put a wedge between you and her ex-husband, and this is a great example of how children are used as weapons against the opposite parent. Did you have a quick question about this? Maybe along the lines of what is it that you're suffering from as a result of this?
Well, I just know that I came into it trying to be their friend. I know I could never be their mother or replace their mother in their hearts in any regard. But, I was hoping I could be a support to my husband and be a friend to them, someone that they would respect.
And did they accept it? Did they accept it?
They wanted to. One of them wanted to, but the youngest, who the mother was, sleeping with, I don't mean I don't think in a sexual way, but
So what I wanted to ask you is that this is a really great example, because it seems like she wanted to not only alienate the father, she wanted to alienate you as well. And I'm going to move to some research about this, unless you have a really quick question. And you're always free to call in. And Jasmine,
I know. I think you're wonderful.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And you're free to call in and request a consultation from any member of the team, including, of course, Jasmine.
Yeah, absolutely. Please call us. We'll take any of your questions. Hi, how are you?
Good,
yeah, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for giving us a little bit of perspective on your situation. And yeah, please call us. I'd love to chat with you.
So I'm going to move into thank you. I'm going to move into a little bit of research and just how destructive this is. And here's a great example of alienation, not only alienating the father, but trying to narc out the new girlfriend, it seems. So imagine the position these children are in, right? They have a big job to do. They've got to kill off the mother. They've got to kill off the new girlfriend, and then of course there are major emotional consequences, fallout material from this. Yeah. So I just want to say a little quote here. This is an article by Lexi Finnegan, February 2017. Divorced parents who brainwash their children against ex-partners are guilty of abuse. The head of the agency that looks after youngsters' interests in family courts had said. So Anthony Douglas, I just want to start with this because this is somebody who is the chief executive of the Children and Family Court Advisory and Support Services, warned against the danger of parent alienation, which is one of the prime examples of how parents use their children as weapons against each other.
Right.
So he says that the deliberate manipulation of a child by one parent against the other has become so common in family breakdowns that it should be dealt with like any other form of neglect or child abuse. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a form of abuse. We talk about neglect, and children are used as weapons against the other parent, as a way to kind of neutralize, their relationship with their child, and to kind of like what they're missing in their relationship with their spouse, let's say, that they get those needs met with their child instead. And that can be really, really damaging.
Really, really damaging. I know we have a call in. Hold on a minute, because I'm just going to get some more information out, and then we can apply it to the audience. It seems like this is a big topic. It was a topic by request, and I think this happens more than we care to know.
Oh, yeah.
According to Kafka's parental alienation is responsible for around 80% of the most difficult cases that come before the family courts. And unfortunately, what's so sad is that some parents are able to convince therapists, they're able to convince the judges and the lawyers and so on that indeed that the other parent is bad and wrong, and then take full custody, and then the child is stuck in the middle. Yeah. So yes, please go ahead and ask a question. I hope you're still online.
Yeah, I am. I just
Hi.
wanted to say that the mother is a social worker, and she's used that to gain leverage in the courts.
Wow.
With the attorneys and the judge.
Somebody you know? Somebody you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
that gave her leverage over the dad, so he didn't know how to deal with that type of a situation, being in the courtroom setting and then dealing with someone who comes across as cogent and, a good citizen in every regard, and they gain that respect. But, they're abusive to their children.
Right, and you never know it.
Separate. Right.
And your name, please? What is your name?
Glenda.
Oh, Glenda. Okay, you're still on. We were just speaking, correct? Yes?
Yeah, I was just disconnected, so I called back.
Okay, thank you. So, Glenda, this is so unfortunately common, and the problem, as you're stating, is that the people come across as so ethical and educated and knowledgeable. And this is, again, we've done so many episodes on narcissism, and covert narcissism seems to be a big topic. And so many people suffer because everybody in the community says, oh, that woman is so educated and perfect. And then behind the scenes, right? Yeah. Not so much good is going on. And the children are made to look like fools because they're trying to say whatever they're trying to say, if they're even trying to say it. They're trying to say the truth, let's say, and the truth is smothered. So we will move on. Thank you, Glenda, for calling in. And
thank you.
Yes, I really appreciate it.
Having me call.
Of course.
I appreciate your show, and thank you for the work you do.
You're so welcome, and feel free to suggest topics. I'm always open to that. And this is a result of a suggestion. Yeah. I know that we have another call, and I'll just move on a little bit with some more information.
Sure.
So it's undoubtedly a form of neglect of the child in terms of the impact it can have. I think the way you treat your children after a relationship has broken up is just as powerful a public health issue as if you're drinking or smoking, or even, I will add, hitting a child. This is a different kind of scarring. So, hi, you are on the air with Dr. Judy and Jasmine Elazari. Hi. What's your name, please?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how you doing? It's
Good.
Lee calling from Canada.
Hi, Lee. How you doing? What part of Canada?
Good. I'm in Calgary.
Oh,
I
very
heard you're
cool.
from Montreal, right?
Montreal.
Yay, Canada.
Yay, Canada. Okay, so what's going on with you, your life, your children, and how does this topic speak to you?
I don't have any children myself, but I did raise my sister's grandchildren. So they were my great nieces and nephews.
Okay.
And my mom is a total full-on narcissist, and same with my sister.
Okay.
And it was heartbreaking because I took care of these kids for years, and she now uses them as pawns.
Yeah.
She refuses to let me see them. It's heartbreaking because, I know that my great nephew really misses me and loves me.
What a dirty shame. What a really dirty shame. And so what do you have, I'm just curious, what hoops do you have to jump through to please your mom in order to get the prize and see the kids?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
I pretty much just came to the point where it's like I'm throwing my hands up in the air and I'm just giving up. I'm just like total opposite. You know, I'm very empathetic, you know?
Yes.
And loving, and I'm just so tired of this abuse. And it's really hard to see that they're abusing the kids because of whatever stuff they have, like whether it be jealousy or whichever.
So this is where, you know, childhood is a hostage situation.
Yes,
in this
absolutely.
case, you are in a hostage situation because you love these children. And that's the problem, is that when people are narcissistically injured, they need to be the center of attention. They need to be in control. And if they have flailing egos and they have what I call the hole in the soul, then their hole in the soul is filled with these children, for example, in this example. And then whoever's trying to take away their, quote, their drug of choice, in this case the kids, is in trouble. So I'm really, really sorry that this is happening. The one thing I wanted to say is that over time, let's hope and pray that over time, these children will get more knowledgeable, they will wake up, and they will, over time, when they grow up, hopefully, see the truth. And in the meantime, it's really important not to hold energy, resentment against the children. For those of you who feel hateful toward the children who are attacking you, remember, they are not the cause, okay?
I love the kids.
Yeah, of course you love the kids. Keep on loving the kids, and they're going to need you, so preserve the relationship in your mind, and then when they're ready to see the truth and come back, they will have they'll have you as an enlightened witness to be a witness to what happened. So appreciate the call. Thank you.
Another question quickly?
Sure.
Okay, so I was the last child, the baby of the family, and it seemed like everything was put on me. I was kind of like the white sheep, except I was treated like the black sheep.
Okay.
Was I a scapegoat child? Is that what
That's
you
a good
would
question.
classify it?
Okay, I'll let Jasmine answer that. What do you think, Jasmine?
Yeah, I think, well, tell me a little bit more about that before I answer. So what do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, so my mom's full-on narcissist. She definitely, she was just really cold. And it seemed like she would put my whole family, cousins, uncles, everything against me. Like it's as if she would have this harsh judgment, no matter what. I could never do right. Even though I was just wanting love from her the whole time.
Yeah.
But she would just pit everyone against me as if I was the problem child, when really my sister that I'm talking about that uses the children as pawns is the big trouble.
So I'm gonna take a few minutes to mind map this situation, okay? And I know we have another caller. Can you stay on for a minute or two? The new caller, is that okay with you? Okay, so I'm hoping the person will hold on. So if you could be so kind as to put the mind map up for a couple minutes, and then I will mind map this. So if you see the top row, you see wounds of childhood.
Right.
And then reactions to the wound. And so imagine this mother or the father or the alienating parent and what they patterned around also, because this is typically multi-generational. So if they're using their children as pawns, if they're projecting on their children, chances are this happened to them as well. So not too surprising. So because the parents are wounded and they need more, let's say, support system, They then do something ugly, which is they parentify their children. So the little boy becomes the little husband, or the little girl becomes the little wife. And this is a reverse in order, because in order to have a healthy childhood, you need to be the receiver of love. You cannot parent the parent. It's a reverse order.
Right.
So just to go on for a little, and then we could take another call.
Yeah.
To understand how important it is, if you look at panel number 3, metaphorically, it represents the mother, the father, the family structure. And when the family structure falls apart, it's often the case that one of the parents more than the other may weaken. And when they weaken, let's say the mother weakens when the father leaves, then she may use that child to shore up her emotions. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, she may need to create a situation where father is the enemy, and so the child is asked to choose, because by the child choosing, she feels more supported.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
it's a bit extreme too, because
extreme.
The needs of the mother in that situation are so high, so that like they create those situations and make it that much worse, so that their children are kind of at the expense of that and are caretaking
high
for
needs.
them. High needs,
exactly.
Right. So yeah.
So go ahead and ask the question. I know we have another caller. This seems to be a hot topic. Maybe we will continue this subject, because there's so much material to cover. And hi, you are on the couch with Dr. Judy and Jasmine. What is your name, please? Okay, call back. Okay, so apparently there's a lot of this going on.
Yeah.
We could tell by the audience. The calls keep coming, and I think so many people can relate to this. And so I want to start with a case study that actually I've been working with, and the person came back into therapy. Mm-hmm. And his complaint, we worked a lot on his father, and now the mother card is up really strongly so, because he made peace with his father. We worked through a lot of truth conversations, and we closed the psychological file on Daddy, and that repaired a lot, except guess who didn't like the fact that it was repaired?
Who?
Guess who? Right? Okay. So the ex-wife, Mommy Dearest, wasn't too happy that the son was talking to Dad, because as far as she was concerned, he was a rotten bastard. And so if he was going to be talking to him, then she wanted nothing to do with him. So she threatened and she manipulated and cornered him. Mm-hmm. And the call is back. So go ahead, and you're on the couch with Dr. Judy and Jasmine. Hi. Hi. Are you still there? Okay, we'll try again.
Yeah.
Hello? Are you?
Hi.
Hi. What's your name, please?
My name's Dave.
Hi, Dave. Nice to talk to
Dave.
you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, nice to talk to you. And how does this relate to you, this particular topic?
I've basically lived this for the past 20 years.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. So tell me more.
It's really bad.
Okay.
So I guess it was about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, the light bulb finally came on, and and basically she left the house and took the kids with her.
Yeah.
And left a note, and she said, "Oh, well, I don't feel safe here anymore." And she went and moved in with her mom.
Okay.
But basically, as the kids were growing up, I had to be the father, I had to be the parent, and she wanted to be the friend.
Okay.
So, it's gotten so bad that so right now my kids are 21, 18, and 16, and I really have almost no contact with any of them.
That's
Anytime
really
I talk
sad.
with my daughter, I'm so worried for my daughter, because now when she texts, we only text back and forth. And when we text back and forth with each other, she is becoming her mother. And it scares me, because she was such an awesome kid.
Yeah.
And she had great dreams and great aspirations. And her mother crushed them.
You know, it baffles me that the courts let this happen. It really, really baffles me. We're supposed to have child protective services on the side of the child, and I don't know, maybe there aren't enough therapists to go around. But how come you didn't have more advocacy to express your rights? What do you think happened?
Well, I think for me, it came down to just the fact that I'm a man. And guys aren't supposed to be abused. So there was really a lot of fear in myself, you know, wanting to just try to tell other people that, hey, you know, my wife's doing this to me. And, you know, I felt like I was trapped, and, you know, I didn't have any way out. I mean, for 20 years, anytime we got into a fight with each other, she'd threaten divorce.
Wow.
Well, there's no better way to say I love you to somebody than to threaten to walk out the door every time you raise your voice.
Right. And then, of course, that meant that the children were going to go with her, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, not only that, it got so bad that just before she left, we had a huge argument, and the kids were bringing up the very words that she used to talk to me about. She shared everything with them.
You know, I want you to know that in my experience of counseling people, I often find that children will take the side of the parent that is most, how shall I put it? That they're scared. That they're scared to lose the love of.
Yeah,
sure.
Right? They're scared. So if you're the secure parent, then they just figure, well, you're the secure parent, you could take it.
Right.
But if they're seeing that mom is threatening the bond, then children will do anything to keep that bond. Yeah. And so in a very sad way, it actually speaks well of who you are, in that they went against you, meaning that they must have felt that you were the secure one and that you can take it. And the mother, okay, so automatically, audience, if you're in this situation and your ex-spouse or spouse or soon-to-be ex or whoever that person is starts pulling this using children as a weapon, they become the flying monkey, this parent alienation business on your children, automatically that is a huge red flag. Because children, and I'm going to go back to panel 3 for a minute, to that DNA strand, part of your children are your literally your DNA and your psychological and your soulful DNA, and the other part is mother. So what happens to these children is that they're torn. And if you can see when the family structure isn't there, or even if the parents decide to not be part of each other's lives, the very least that they could do is create a co-parenting system whereby the children can see a model of people who get along. Because if they see a model of people who don't get along, it's going to really affect future relationships. And then they're going to be spinning in panel 4, 5, 6 because they're going to pick men who are, let's say, unavailable, or they're going to pick people who side with others, and they're not going to be able to create structure.
Yeah. Can I speak to that a little
bit?
Please. Yeah, I think, for children, as they're developing, it's so important for them to get their needs met. And one of the biggest needs for children is that validation from their parents.
Right.
And when, parents are so focused on their issues that they're not able to kind of see their children as individuals and help them grow to be who they are, they're kind of used at the expense of their relationship. And so for a lot of children, when they're going into their own relationships as adults, they look to find the partner that they have the most unfinished business with, because validation wasn't met. And it's that important, to feel loved, to feel like they are good enough, that they're worth it. And what we know about these children that are raised in this situation is that they feel worthless.
They
feel like they're
core
only
belief. Right. By the way, I just wanted to check, are we almost out of time? Oh, we do. I guess I'm blind. The clock. Oh, that's. Oh, the clock stopped. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah,
okay.
same.
Okay. Like, wow, we only have 2 minutes to do this. Okay, so that is correct. That there's this incompletion, and I want to get for a minute 2 core beliefs. I wrote down something about negative core beliefs. Here it is. In essence, the child receives the message that she is worthless and unloved and only of value for meeting the needs of others. Children are not stupid, and even though the words are not said necessarily, and sometimes they are said, children will incorporate into the fiber of their being the messages that are delivered. It's kind of like a DNA message delivery system. I'm really, really sorry that you're going through this.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
I think there's going to be more and more information out. And what's so cool to me is that I think there's going to be more legislature around this. And this is actually going to, at some point, I hope
so too.
Be part of a legal code. If this goes going on,
absolutely.
there's going to be, and I'm going to try to. I know I'll come up to it because I read it. There are some countries, I think, in Italy and in Mexico. It is not legal to have this go on. So I think some countries are advanced in this regard. And so, Dave, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. And I think the best thing that you could do is just be a great human being, and your children will grow up. And at some point, they're hopefully going to be knocking on your door. And then the last thing you'll want to do is badmouth their mother, right? So don't do it.
I don't even do that now. I mean, they try to bait me. And stuff like that, and I don't fall for it. I meet their anger with love.
Okay,
that's amazing.
Beautiful.
Good for you, really.
And so they're going to get that on some level.
When they text me and my daughter gets ugly and stuff like that, I just tell her, "Look, I love you," and she says, "Well, I don't love you. I don't want your last name. You're not coming to my wedding. You're not coming to my graduation, yada, yada, yada." And I'm like, those are your choices, and you're going to have to deal with the fallout from those choices.
Exactly.
I want to be there, but it's your choice.
Yeah. And so I know we have another call, just one other comment, Dave. Remember that we are not the cause of part 1 of our lives, because we have these silent forces that keep us stuck, that keep us spinning in the same old. Yes. And so once she wakes up and becomes more conscious, then she'll see that she will have choices. Right now, her only choice is to hang on to that love bond with her mom, because apparently that's really significant to her.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Really, just real quick, just before you leave, the one thing, and I think this may help the audience. Choice was actually what made me wake up. I was able to use choice as a way to finally find my way out of the mess that I was in.
What
because
choice
I was
did
able
you?
to take. I was able to take the gaslighting and everything and turn it on its head.
Wow.
Because I said, look, that's your choice. You are making this choice. I'm not holding a gun to your head.
Right.
And that's when, within days, that's when she just left. It's like she realized she lost the grip on me, and she panicked and left and went to her mother's, and the rest is history.
It's amazing what truth does. It's amazing when you shine the truth light on a situation, then everything unravels and maybe doesn't look too good in the short run. Just what your words were really powerful, because what you were doing is holding them accountable, not just for today's choices, but the fallout, as you say. So thank you.
Yeah, and that was the difficulty I had even raising my kids is, I was very big on personal accountability, and she was absolutely had no part of accountability.
Yeah, and the kids are learning that now.
I just want to encourage the listeners that there is a way out, and I'm living proof of it. And it was very dark when I was there, but eventually it did work out. I just hope it works out with my kids later on down the road. But that's their choice, and it's not mine.
Really, really nicely put. And again, sometimes we have to create the boundary and separate ourselves from other people and we're not the cause of other people's choices. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much.
And I think
Absolutely. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, my pleasure. And for those of you who are calling in, just know that, well, for everyone, the free consultations are available, and people are in pain and suffering and muck and mire. And to speak to that, we have the Mind Map staff of therapists. You can find the team, and Jasmine's on the team. You can meet the team at drjudywtf.com or psychologicalhealingcenter.com. And I know we have another caller, so I'll take that. We'll take that the new caller. Hi, you are on the couch with Dr. Judy. Hello?
Hello? Oh, hi. Sorry, just one sec.
Hi.
Hi.
Who's this? I think we're losing the call here. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about how to get out of this mess, how to get out of, as I refer to, the double dungeon of darkness. And please hold for a minute. I'm going to take your call. So I created a system called Be the Cause, Healing Human Disconnect. I have a book out that's available on Amazon through the website, and it is a pathway.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
If I do say so myself.
Thank you. It is a pathway to healing. It's a from, through, to model. We've got to look at what we encode, all of the damaging messages that we encode from our parents, and then we have to dismantle and decode all that and then recode into health. And for those of you who don't really love to come to an office or do Skype or phone, I finally finished my Mind Map video series, and if you can put that up on the thank you very much. You can do the Mind Map video process system in the privacy of your own home. It comes with, oh my God, about 8-10 hours of videotape. I literally stand in front of the mind map and break down wounds of childhood, how you react to them, how you encode, and then we have to process these feelings. That is a big part of the mind map process. Feelings that are left unprocessed, as you know, working with patients, they keep spinning around and they keep repeating the patterns.
WTF.
The WTF,
right?
right. So this mind map video, along with the book, and it does come with a PDF of the book and the journal and all kinds of goodies, including my favorite part of this, of course, my grandson, who breaks down the mind map from a child's perspective. So now you can do one-on-one Skype, one-on-one coming in personally. You can combine the video with a live therapist. You can choose your fee. We have people who work on sliding scale fee. And so we really don't want to turn anyone down, because I feel, and the team and many others feel, that we need a pathway out of this hellhole. And unfortunately, most therapies are not addressing the reprocessing of the feelings and the going down deep into the cause of the problem, which is always mother-infant disconnect, father-infant disconnect. And in this show, of course, the theme of disconnecting your own child for the purposes of winning the war against another partner. And so if the caller's still there, hi, you are on the couch, okay, or call back. So this is so much material tonight, and of course I have no idea what time it is, so just let me know. And the caller's back? Great. Okay. Hi, you are on the couch with Dr. Judy.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name, please?
Tatiana.
Hi, Tatiana. Nice to hear your voice. And so how do you relate? Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Okay, great. Okay, so how do you relate to this topic? What inspired you to call in?
So my husband and I have been married for about 1.5, been together for 3 years. And his ex-wife is a narcissist, and he has a 5-year-old daughter with her. And so she's alienated him, Mila's whole life. Mila is their daughter. And so recently Mila's been exhibiting behavioral problems.
Okay.
And has been put in therapy. Because I think Marilyn, sorry, I probably shouldn't say names, but my husband's ex-wife is in her third relationship, third child with this man.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. She's on her third child with a different guy, and I think he's the one who suggested therapy because he seems like a really nice man.
The new husband.
Yeah, I don't know if they're married yet, but engaged. She got pregnant very shortly after they met.
Okay, so what symptoms are you seeing in the child? Because this definitely leads to symptoms that the child then bears, and I'll read a little research on that. But I'm curious to know what Mila is experiencing, what you're observing here.
So, unfortunately, we haven't been able to observe much. It's only what her mother has told us. Mila was in pre-K, and she was having issues in class, like talking back to the teacher, and then she got kicked out of class. She got sent to the principal's office, and I guess at this point she got kicked out of pre-K altogether because she was in the principal's office waiting for the principal, and I guess she tore up the whole office, like took all the paper out, like destroyed everything. And so her mom put her in therapy, and so I guess obviously we're very concerned for Mila because she's already exhibiting behaviors because of her mother, and being alienated from her father and having no stability whatsoever. Her mom's moved around. I can't even tell you how many times, has a third baby daddy, so it's just like...
So this is creating a sense of grief in the child, and so the child can't exactly mourn the death of the father, correct? Because the father didn't die, and obviously the child knows that the parent is still around. And remember Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, stages of grief. Denial, anger, bargaining. So here we are, anger. This child cannot express herself to the parent and say something like, how dare you keep me from my other parent? Yeah. That's my dad. How dare you do this to me? So what they do is they do something called projection. So they project their feelings onto the school, the children, the principal, and the authority.
Yeah, for sure. And most of the time it's really like a cry for help. They don't really know what to do with their emotions. They're feeling a multitude of them. And so it kind of comes off as like defense, and it's like acting out behavior. And that most of the time, I think, correct me, I think that's really the case. It's like they need help.
Right, because it's the cry for help. As I say in my book, I say in my video, the symptoms are the hieroglyphics that point to the cause. In other words, symptoms are a cry for help. And these children are crying for help. They can't use words. They cannot express directly because there's no allowance for direct communication. So they'll get...
And it wasn't modeled for them either.
No,
right?
For sure not. Yeah. So they sink into depression. They experience anxiety because the anxiety is the desire to bubble up the feelings, the emotions, but they're not allowed to say it, so it gets suppressed. And then the guilt that maybe... they did something wrong. If they only worked a little harder, mommy and daddy would be together. And I can't tell you how many times I hear in my office that children try to play the little psychiatrist to their parents. They try to cure their parents. Or they try to be the monkey in the middle and hold the parents at bay from each other as they're fighting, putting themselves in physical jeopardy. So these are some signs of cries for help. Depression, anxiety, inappropriate guilt, a proneness to outbursts of extreme anger and rage, which is what you're describing, correct?
Correct.
So,
and another issue I'm having is that Mila doesn't actually even, I don't know if she knows that Tim is her dad, but Marilyn has never let her call or refer to my husband as her father. She only lets her call whatever man she's with at that time her father. So whenever my husband says, your daddy loves you, Marilyn's very quick to jump in and say, she doesn't know who you are, don't say that. Like, we FaceTime 3 times a week if we're lucky, and the whole time, you know, it's observed by my husband's ex-wife, and Mila opens up when Marilyn's not around, but whenever she's there, I can tell she's very shut off. So I don't know if my husband's ex-wife is coaching her and, like, basically telling her, don't say this, don't do that, you know. And my husband has a ton of rights, but our financial situation doesn't allow us to fly across the country and go fight in court, you know.
I know, this is so sad. I wish there were more psychological solutions to this. I think the only smart thing to do is stay sane, stay together, be a role model for mental health, because this child will grow up and she will need sane parental figures beyond the chaos that she's exposed to now. So thank you for calling in.
Yes,
I really
thank you.
appreciate it. And I think that more legal advocacy has to be worked into this so that people have places to go to cry for help, to get muscle behind it. And unfortunately, these issues turn into legal battles. They cost the court system, I'm sure, millions and billions of dollars a year, costing families millions. And by the time you're done with the battle, right, you could have had a beautiful college fund or down payment on your child's house. So thank you. I just want to go on with a little bit more information. And we have how much time left?
15 minutes. Oh.
Really? Great. Okay. The child who becomes the emotional caretaker of a parent is placed under severe stress. No kidding, right?
Yes.
Overburdened, that's an understatement. Some children in this situation may appear to be coping on the surface because they're doing well in school and so on and so forth, but inside they're really, really breaking down. And we have another caller, so great, we have time. And you're on the couch with Jasmine and Dr. Judy.
Hi there.
Hi.
What's your name, please?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Tortuga.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Tortuga.
Is that your name?
Yes.
Okay, nice to talk to you. Where are you from?
I'm from California.
Okay, great. So do you have a question about the subject that we're talking about?
Urgent matter.
Sure.
My son, every time he gets excited, he has a goat. He just, out of nowhere, he just, like a goat. I don't know how to control him.
He does what?
Like a goat.
Like a goat. Like that. Okay. So how does that apply to the subject tonight? Okay, I think this is a pretty funny joke here. Okay, we will be moving on. And don't follow the herd of the sheep, okay? Take your own pathway. Thank you for calling in. So next idea here.
Yeah.
We'll leave the goat to pasture. And that was a good one. I almost went for it. Pretty good. Okay. Parentification, a closer look at the harmful effects, role reversal. Yep. So people being little father, little mother to the parents. This is another form of manipulation, right? And so it definitely takes its toll. The kid is forced to grow up far too soon. Again, the parent is using the child as narcissistic supply because they're weakened, because they can't shore up for themselves. And so in order
They almost don't have a choice, right?
With the kid?
Yeah.
How did they have a choice? They have to keep the bond with the parent.
Exactly.
They want to please.
Yeah, they want to please.
Right? But they can never because the bar keeps raising higher. So now you have to tell daddy that you don't love him. Thank you. And now you have to tell daddy that you don't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now you have to tell daddy that the new boyfriend is really the daddy. So do you see how sick this gets? This is a really bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So any other comments or case studies that you want to bring up?
I just, I feel like a lot of these children that are raised in these situations will grow up having a lot of pain and resentment and not really have the space to know what to do with it because they were never given that space to grow as an independent individual. And I think, the best thing that parents can do is to give space for their children to talk and to tell them what they need from them. And it doesn't really matter at what point that is. Like if that can be given to them, then that would be great. And, as therapists, I think we're here for them as well to give them that space to be whoever they are, because that was taken away from them at the expense of their parents and what they're going through.
And the sad part is sometimes we'll never see those children,
right?
Because
and that's why I say it.
The controlling parent doesn't want the kid to talk, right? So they're squelched, they're silenced. Yeah. And so as a result of this, the enmeshed parent, the one that needs this child to fulfill a duty to be their advocate, is there's some words here that I want to read off. They're pretty powerful. Okay, so this is oftentimes called a covert incest, emotional incest, psychic incest. Why? Because it's enmeshed. It's incestuous.
Yeah.
Right? The child has no choice.
Well, the child is basically objectified,
Yeah.
To be the carrier of the emotions that the parent isn't able to deal with or open up. So they kind of, when you say using your children as a weapon, they use their children as like this container for all of the emotions that they're not able to hold.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's like and when we say enmeshed, they're very much entangled together. And both people kind of have their needs being met, but in a dysfunctional way.
Remember Murray Bowen, multigenerational,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, so he talks about
process,
he talks about separation and individuation and the
and differentiation.
Differentiation, right?
Yeah.
And these kids are not able to differentiate because they're forced back into the system. The burden is on them, and they develop really unhealthy bonds. The psychologist John Bowlby, who I talk a lot about, found evidence that we are also more likely than others to develop what he calls anxious attachment, clingy behavior, when we feel abandoned by those who we care for. And so even though the other parent may not be directly abandoning the child, the alienating parent is letting the child think that the other parent doesn't love them, and will say things like, your daddy doesn't really love you. If your daddy loved you, he would love your mommy. He wouldn't treat your mommy like this.
Right.
And it's just really a system gone wrong. So can you see how out of this would come a lot of chaos?
Absolutely.
And it's big chaos. It's not only the parents. Now we've got girlfriends and new spouses involved, and grandparents involved, and family members and friends and school system. And so this infection keeps reinfecting. Like you drop that pebble in the pond, right? Concentric circles keep reverberating. Yeah. So, okay. Any other thoughts? We were going to go to shrink our tune.
Should we shrink the tune?
Yeah.
Let's shrink the tune.
Okay, we have time. Do we have time to shrink the tune?
5 minutes.
We got 6 minutes to shrink this tune.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a song by Dead Mouse, the band, and our song picker, Heather, is always recommending the best, and we're going to apply the words of this song to our topic.
Yeah, and the song is called Raise Your Weapon.
Right. Thank you. So appropriate. Okay, so now, in this case, think of the weapon as the child. We're raising the weapon. So I'm going to read some lyrics, and then we're going to shrink it, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Ripping my heart was so easy, so easy. Launch your assault now. Take it easy. Raise your weapon, raise your weapon. One word, and it's over. Ripping through like a missile, ripping through my heart. Rob me of this love. raise your weapon, and it's over. So what do you make of that in the context of using children as weapons against their parent?
Yeah, I think, what in the beginning of this tune, one word and it's over, ripping through like a missile, kind of like the child has no control over what's happening, right?
Right. They're at the effect of.
They're at the effect
sure.
of cause.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, too, if we're going to interpret it through the eyes of this topic, then I don't think that a narcissistically injured parent has a lot of empathy, so they're not really aware of the impact they're having on their child.
Not really capable of empathy
Not capable of realizing that they're robbing this child of their love, that they're ripping into their heart.
Right.
And here it says it well, love your ego, you won't feel a thing. In other words, it's about you, mom and dad, your ego, you won't feel a thing.
Yeah.
Always number one, meaning
that the parent
is always number one, not
yeah.
the kid. Oh, wow. The pen with a bent wrist, crooked king, sign away our peace for your war. Wow.
Sign away your, what does it say?
Sign away our peace, the children's peace for the war of the parents.
Yeah.
Sacrificial lambs.
It's very sacrificial.
Yeah. One word and it's over. In other words, the parents are the kings and the queens. They're control of the kingdom, and one has more power. So basically, one word and it's over. In other words, if mom says divorce or dad says divorce, it may be over for them, but it's also in a big way over for the children. The life they knew is no longer.
Yeah.
Dropping your bombs now on all we've built. How does it feel now to watch it burn, burn, burn? Raise your weapons, and it's over. Ripping through like a missile, ripping through my heart. Rob me of this love. Raise your weapon, and it's over.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go on a little more. This is pretty graphic. Raise your weapons. How does it feel now to watch it burn? I think that might be something that the other parent can gloat over. Like, look what you've caused. It's your fault. Blame the other person.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, when you're reading it, there's just so much anger there. There's a lot of anger and kind of saying like, how does it feel now to watch it burn?
And some of it is chorus line, and I think worthy to repeat. Love your ego. You won't feel a thing.
Yeah.
Parents won't feel a thing.
No.
It's the children that are going to absorb all the pain.
All the feelings.
Just like you said, right?
As the container.
They're containing the feeling of the parents. Sign away a peace for your war.
Yeah. And that makes it's like a need, on the parents' end to have their child fulfill that for them because they're not able to feel it on their own.
And I'm hoping that some of what I said tonight, some of what Jasmine said tonight, goes back to a lot of the episodes that many of you have watched about the scapegoat child and the golden child, because one will comply with mom or dad, the other might raise up against mom and dad.
Yeah. A lot of sibling rivalry,
goes
on as
fallout material, right?
Yeah.
Sibling rivalry, and I have a bunch of episodes up there on sibling rivalry and golden child and scapegoat child and lost child and mascot child. So you might want to review some of that material in the context of what we're talking about. So everything is interconnected here. And the purpose of the mind map is to show you how these things embed in us, because whether our parents were divorcing or not divorcing or had other issues, maybe alcoholism or borderline personality disorder, dysregulated emotions, or lack of empathy, whatever the issue is, it's going to infect the next generation. And a big part of the mind map's purpose is to heal backward, heal in the now, and heal forward. And just for you to know, the new book is out. the updated version of Be the Cause Healing Human Disconnect is now out and available at Amazon.com. Just make sure you get the new copy. And in the new copy is a really cool section called Dr. Judaisms and Other Key Terms. And for those of you who know my languaging, you'll find definitions for double dungeon of darkness and terms like cause and effect, and terms like what are the other terms? Cracked lens of perception,
right.
And just like a lot of terms that I created so that we can be on the same page. So please feel free to call in, request information. You can order your mind map video series if you like. You can also combine it with therapy.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful staff of people. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Jasmine, very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks
and
for
again,
having me. It was
my
a pleasure.
And
Thank you.
congratulations once
Thank you.
again.
Thank you so much.
Obtaining your license,
you.
marriage, family
therapist.
Just what we need to overcome
Yes.
these issues.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.